No, this video is super late already. I do not have any more time to be thinking of something to say here. Play the intro. Quickly. Hello everyone, my name is Matt and welcome back to this tutorial series on GRIAN'S mansion from Hermitcraft Season 7. In this episode we are going to be finally completing the outside of the mansion with some detailing here, here and here. A bunch of nice chimneys going up there, some terraforming underneath here and a nice aqueduct coming out of there. So without further ado, let's jump on in, and the first thing we're going to be doing is coming down into this little corner here at the front with some stone bricks. We're going to start next to these pieces of polished andesite just here, and from that block just there place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of stone brick in a diagonal line like that, and then from here bring them back in a diagonal until they touch the inside of that archway, and we're going to build each of these up until they are a total of 4 blocks high. Then grab some polished andesite and place one on top of each of those bits of stone bricks. Switch to polished andesite stairs and place them upside down, coming around like this in a zigzag until we get all the way around onto this block here. We can then fill this gap here in with one last block of polished andesite like that, then take some grass blocks and at the same level as the polished andesite, fill in this whole gap behind it here all the way back to this wall. And that does it for this piece of detailing. So on to the next bit, which is just up here, and we're going to start by placing a bit of stone there just next to this polished andesite. Then from there we're going to build 1, 2, 3 blocks in a diagonal just like that, and then bring these in a diagonal back this way until it hits that wall there. Come back to this original block and build it up by 2 more so that it is a total of 3 blocks high, and then build all of the rest of these up to that same height. We're then going to bring this bit back to meet this wall here by putting 2 blocks in a diagonal like so and bring them up to the same height. Then go back to your polished andesite blocks and place one on top of each of these bits of stone. Now the next bit of the wall is actually going to be concrete powder, so we need to make sure we've got something to support it. So going around behind each of these bits of polished andesite that we've just placed, we're going to place another piece of polished andesite like so. Then switch to some grey concrete powder and place one on top of each of those inner bits of polished andesite that we've just placed. Then on this block, we're now going to place one more block of the grey concrete powder. We're going to place 2 more on each of those and 3 more on this one. And now from this side, we're going to place 3 more on top of that and 3 more on top of this one. Grab some Cyan Terracotta and starting from here, build that one up until it touches that, and then build the rest of these 3 up until they are at the same height as this polished andesite just there, and build these 2 up to that same height as well. For this wall, we're going to begin with some andesite walls by running them all the way up to the top on that side just there, and the same on this side just here. Then at the top here, switch back to your Cyan Terracotta and bring it in a diagonal line going across like that, and bring this one and this one down by an extra 1. Then to finish off this window, place a polished andesite block underneath there just like that, polished andesite slabs underneath there, and then take black concrete and fill up the back of this just like so. Now to begin the roof of this section, we're going to take some stone brick stairs, and then starting from this block of polished andesite right here, we're going to place stone brick stairs like this, coming around, basically following the line of where the edge of this Cyan Terracotta is, except the stairs are 1 block out from it, as you can see if I look at them from underneath just here. So we're going to go around like this, and eventually when we reach the other end here, we're going to stop when we get onto that block just there, so this other end will look like this. Take some dark prismarine, place the first block on top of those stairs just like that, and go 1, 2 and 3 in a diagonal back in that direction. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 in a diagonal back in that direction, and then 1 and 2 going back like that. Then take some regular stone slabs and place them on the outside edge going around like this on the bottom half of all of those dark prismarine blocks that we've just placed. Now for the rest of this roof, it's a reasonably simple pattern with the dark prismarine. The next layer, we're going in one and following the inside edge of that first layer like this. We're then doing the same again for the next layer, just like that. For the next layer, we're actually going to start all the way back here so that this roof connects properly into this roof. So we're placing our first block there and then following the same pattern of going around the inside like that. And then one more layer starting from here and bring it out in a diagonal to cover up that last little bit of gap that we had in the top there. Moving around now to put some detail on this face just here. We're going to start by marking the edge of where it comes to with some polished andesite blocks. And we're going to start next to this block just here, so one block below the top of this roof. Come 2 that way, then put one which is going to be a temporary block there so we can come out like that and make that into another 2. Then zigzag this way for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then from this 5th one come straight back like this until we meet the wall back here. Then you can take some regular stone and we're going to fill in this whole gap on the inside here with that stone just like this. Next, come underneath that bit we've just built with some stone brick blocks. Place 2 stone brick blocks coming out like that. Then place 1 on each of these polished andesite blocks just like that. Then you can switch to some stone brick stairs. Place the first ones in this little gap in there. Then 1 against those stone bricks and 1 next to it. 1 on each of these stone bricks, and then a line of them coming this way until we get all the way into the rock. While we have those stone bricks, we can also come to this corner, place a pillar next to it just like that, coming all the way up to that polished andesite, and a pillar on this side as well, doing the same. Back around here now, grab some grey concrete powder, place the first 2 blocks there and just there. Then come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a diagonal like that, right up to the edge, and then 2 more going back to connect it back into this wall. Then, like we did with this one, to build up the sides a little bit more, we're going to add 1, 2, 3 to there, 2 to there, 2 to this corner, and then 3 each to those 2. Then again, the same as with this one, we're going to grab some Cyan Terracotta and build it up on top of this concrete, except we're not coming all the way up to the top here now, we're actually coming to 2 blocks below the top, so just to there, and we're going to build up on these 3 to that same height. Now on this window side, add 1 more block of grey concrete powder on top of each of those 4, switch to some regular stone and put 5 blocks in a diagonal going across the front of it like that. Then take andesite slabs and put 4 of them on the top half of each of those stone blocks just like so. Then take your andesite walls and, like we did before, build them up this wall, except we're only going to 1 block below where we did that. Now we're not going all the way to the top, and we're going to do the same on this wall just here like that. Then switch back to your Cyan Terracotta, come on the inside of the andesite wall, place 1 block there and 1 above it like so, and do that on this one as well. Then come in a diagonal from the top block in like that from each of them, and these 2 blocks here that we've just placed, build each of them up 1 like that. You're then going to place a polished andesite block underneath each of those 4 blocks of the Cyan Terracotta. Take some black concrete and we're going to fill up the back of this window with the black concrete just like this. We can also add a little bit of detail to the windowsill by placing an anvil on top of each of these 3 blocks of stone like that. Moving up to the roof, we're going to take some light grey wool, place 1 there, 1 there and 1 there with a block of andesite on top of each. Then come around to this corner and do something similar with a block of light grey wool there, there and there, again with a block of andesite on top of each. We're then going to continue this diagonal line up into the middle by placing a light grey wall there and there with andesite on top of each of them, and one last piece of light grey wall right in the very centre like that. Now for the roof itself, we're going to grab our dark prismarine, put our first piece on top of this corner like that, and one behind it, and we can actually break that piece of andesite because I've just realised it doesn't actually go there. And then around here, we're going to put one on that corner, break this piece of andesite as well, and then zigzag that back into the wall just like that. For the next layer of the roof, we're going to break this piece of polished andesite just there, replace it with dark prismarine going in a zigzag like that, and then around here break both of those two pieces of the polished andesite and bring the dark prismarine in a zigzag just like so. For the third layer, we're going to place 3 blocks of dark prismarine in a diagonal like that, and 3 more in a diagonal like that. And then to finish off this bit of roof, we're going to put 2 blocks of the dark prismarine on top of that light grey wall, and then fill in across the top of this gap just like so. The roof isn't quite finished yet, however, because this edge of it still looks a bit strange. So to solve that, we're going to grab some stone brick slabs. We're going to start by placing 2 like that. I'm just realised there's actually a gap back there, as you can see, so we're going to fill that in with some dark prismarine. Anyway, back to the stone bricks. We have our 2 there. We're then going to place 1 on the edge here. Then next to it around this side, place 1, 2, 3 on top of each other like that. 3 like that. 3 like that. And then coming around this side, we're going to start from the wall back here and bring these around the bottom halves of those dark prismarine blocks like that. And then the same as we did up here, we're going to place 3 slabs like that, 3 slabs like that, and to finish it off, 3 slabs like that. There's now 1 more window to put in before we move up to doing the chimneys, which is on this wall just here. However, before we do that, it turns out I've actually been a little bit too enthusiastic with my terraforming around here, and it actually comes a little bit too high. What we want this terraforming to be before we can start this window is a flat layer across the top of the grass that can come up to this height here. So if you use these quartz slabs as a measurement, it should be at the block below them, so that should be where the top of the grass is. So this is where the grass should be at, which has admittedly left mine looking a little bit thin there, so what I'm probably going to have to do is extend some of this dirt and grass down around here a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about that as part of the tutorial, because we are moving on to this wall here. And to start off our window section on this, we're going to grab some stone brick slabs. We're going to place our first one just there on the top half of this stone bricks, then come across 1 and out 1, across 1 and out 2, then come across 3 like that, back 1 and across 2, back 1 and across 2 more, and last of all back 1 and across 2 more, and you should find that that meets up with that wall just as mine has done. And I'm then going to fill in this whole area here with more of those slabs. Once you have that, you're going to take some polished andesite blocks, and starting in this corner over here, you're going to place polished andesite there, then come across 2 and out 1, across 1 and out 1, across 2 and out 1, across 2 more and out 1, and across 2 more. So you should now be just here in front of that corner there. And then moving around, you're going to come 2 back like that, and 1 across like that, 2 back, and across 1 to finish it off. We're then going to make the outline for our wall here. So this block, and these 2 blocks, and these 2 blocks are concrete powder. Then those 2 blocks, those 2 blocks, and those 2 blocks are grey wool. And last of all, these 2 blocks just here are getting replaced with concrete powder as well. You can then build it up a little by adding 2 blocks of concrete powder to there, 1 each to those two, and that one, 2 to there, and 2 to there, and then 2 blocks of polished andesite on top of the rest of these blocks of grey wool. Then switch to your Cyan Terracotta, build up 2 on top of that concrete just there, with then the rest of these built up to the same height, stopping at the polished andesite. Then coming across to this side, put 2 blocks of the Cyan Terracotta on top of those pieces of polished andesite just there, 2 blocks on top of that one, and change the bottom 2 blocks of that wool to the Cyan Terracotta as well. Then grab a bunch of droppers, or dispensers work as well, but droppers are of course cheaper for those of you doing this on survival. Place a dropper facing upwards on top of each of those pieces of Cyan Terracotta that we've just placed, including that one there, so we're going to need to break that block of wool to do that. Then go back to some polished andesite and place polished andesite on top of each of the droppers, again including this one over here, so we're breaking another block of wool. On top of this block and that block, place some smooth stone with stone on top of it and another smooth stone, and then 3 blocks of stone on top of each of these. And then on the rest of these, we're just going to build stone up to the same level, with the exception being this one here. We're only going to break 2 of those wool blocks to replace with stone and leave the rest of it as it is. Once you've finished putting all of this stone on top of those blocks of polished andesite, we want to finish off making the outline for this window. So we're going to place 3 blocks of stone against those 3 and 3 against these 3. Then come back 1 and across 1 to cover up that gap with one below them, so the top looks like this. Then down the bottom here, we're going to place upside down polished andesite stairs against the bottom of those andesite blocks, with polished andesite blocks on top of the stairs. And then that is our outline for the window all filled in. So we can come in behind it now and fill it in like this with the black concrete. Then just before we move up to the roof of this section, we're going to add a little bit more detail to this windowsill here with our anvils like we did down there, placing them across the windowsill just like that. Take some dark prismarine blocks and place them across the stone brick slabs like that, but not on the end one. Then you want to take some quartz slabs and make sure these are regular quartz slabs and not smooth quartz slabs. And we're going to place them along the bottom halves of these dark prismarine blocks like so until we get to there, and then 2 quartz slabs on top of each other on those stone bricks like that. Now moving back to the dark prismarine, we're going to take some dark prismarine slabs, and starting at this end we're going to place 2 a half slab above those ones like that, with a full block behind them like that, and a slab just like so. Now for this segment, we're going to go up in much the same way as this, by going slab, block, slab, block, slab, and block, and filling that little gap back there. Then for each of these 3 segments, we're going to follow the exact same pattern as this, going up a half slab increment each time, and then when we get to the same height as this bit, just going back to meet the wall. The prismarine section of this roof is now very nearly finished, and we're going to finish it off by coming up this edge here and adding 1 more dark prismarine slab like that. Then at the top here, next to this one, put a 2x2 square like that, and then coming down a layer, put 2 full dark prismarine blocks coming out like that. Now that still leaves us with this gap at the side to fill in, which we're going to do by placing a full dark prismarine block on top of those stone bricks there. And then for the rest of it, we're just going to build up this stone to meet the dark prismarine. And here where we have this little half block gap, we're going to fill it in with a half block of the dark prismarine like so. And then to add a little bit of depth and detail to this edge here, we're going to go back to our quartz slabs and place 2 quartz slabs on top of each other, going like this, so that each time we go up half a block from where we started before with the quartz. Now we are on to doing the chimneys, and we are going to start at the furthest edge that has them here, which is this roof just here. Now the outline for our first chimney, we're doing this with stone bricks, and we're starting right up against the top of this bit of roof just here, and we're going 1, 2, 3 blocks of stone bricks like that, and turning that into a square just like so. And then for the second chimney from this corner, we're going to come back 1, 2, 3 and place our block, so there is a 2-block gap between them, and then bring it out to the side like that and turn that into a 3x3 square as well. Now for this first chimney, we're going to put smooth stone in the middle of each of those sides like that, with stone stairs facing into them like that, and at the back here like that. We're then going to place 2 blocks of andesite on top of each of the bits of smooth stone, with 3 bits of stone on top of the andesite, and stone stairs facing into those ones at the front like that, and the same at the back. You can now cover up this gap in the middle with a block of stone, or any block really, and place a hay bale on top of it. And if you don't already know why, I'll explain why that is a hay bale in a minute. You can then surround this hay bale with upside down stone stairs and put a block of polished andesite on top of each of those stairs. We can then finish this chimney off by placing a campfire inside on top of the hay bale like that. And the reason that was a hay bale rather than any other block is that if you place a campfire on top of the hay bale, it makes the column of smoke that you get from that campfire a lot taller, which on a big build like this actually makes quite a big bit of difference, because without that hay bale, that column of smoke is really very pitiful and small, and you can actually barely see it. Now for this second chimney, it starts off the same as this one, with smooth stone there, our stone stairs facing into them like that, and 2 blocks of andesite on top of the smooth stone. However, rather than just having the 3 blocks of stone that we had on this one, we have 4 blocks of stone on each of these bits of andesite, with then 2 blocks of andesite on top of them and 2 more blocks of stone. And now the top is the same as this one, so we have stone stairs facing into our top bits of stone like that. We then close off that and place a hay bale on top of it, have upside down stone stairs surrounding the hay bale, and then last of all, polished andesite on top of the stairs with a campfire in there. For the chimneys on this section of roof, we're going to start by coming from this corner and counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks and placing our stone bricks, then turning that into a 3x3 square just like so. Then for the second chimney, from this back corner here, come 1 block diagonally there, leave it as a gap, and have our first corner here, so there's a 1 block diagonal gap between them, and then come this way and this way to make our 3x3 square. Then to build up each of these 2 chimneys, you're going to copy what we did down here. So this one towards the front is identical to this chimney, and this one at the back is identical to this one. So that is our first 4 chimneys done. And now this bit of roof just here actually doesn't have a chimney on it, it has another tower, which is going to be identical to this one here, and I'll recap quickly how to build that now. We're going to start with some polished andesite, and from the corner here, this is the 3rd segment coming back from the edge of this roof. So from this corner, we're going to place a polished andesite block like that, just touching it diagonally. Then go 2 blocks, another 2 blocks, and 1 block. Come around the corner, go 2 blocks, 2 blocks, and 1 block. Same on this side, 2 blocks, 2 blocks, and 1 block. And last of all, 2 blocks there and 2 blocks there. And then put 1 more block on top of each of these so that it is 2 blocks high. Now with some stone, build up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks inside that corner. And the same here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then with more stone, build up to the same height next to that one, and to the same height just behind this block. And then in this last little gap here, place one full block with a half slab of stone on top of it, just like that. At the top here, you can place 2 blocks of stone like so, and then behind here, we are going to fill in this with some black concrete. We're then going to add a little bit of detail to this window by adding smooth stone slabs to the side of it like that and above it there, with cobblestone walls either side of it like that, and cobblestone walls on each of the corners. And what we're now going to do is go around the other 3 sides and make them look identical to this. Once you've done that, we're going to take some polished andesite stairs and go around each of these corners, placing them upside down on the corners like so. And then in these corners that are in the middle of the wall, we're going to place them upside down just like that and just like that, and do that for all 4 of the sides. You can then take polished andesite blocks, place them on top of each of the stairs, and then when you've done that, place them to the sides like that, and do that on all 4 sides. So we have this line of the polished andesite, which is 1 block out from the top of that stone. We can then switch back to our stone, fill in this whole area along the top with the stone like I'm doing here. And then once you've done that, switch back to your polished andesite, and at the edges, just like that, build an L out of the polished andesite and do that on all 4 of the sides, which will leave us with a nice little 3x3 square of the stone visible in the middle. Next, on each of these corners, build up 2 blocks of stone with 1 block of smooth stone and stone bricks, just like so. Then once you've done that, place a block of polished andesite on top of each of the blocks of stone, and then copy these L shapes from down here, just like this. On the top half of each of those polished andesite blocks, place dark prismarine slabs like this. Then at any one of the corners, put another slab underneath, which will turn that into a full block. Bring it out like that, break the block and turn it back into a slab, and then bring these slabs all the way around like this until you have gone all the way around the whole roof. And then when you have, you're going to go back around, breaking all of the corners like this. That should leave you with something that looks like this. Now for the next stage of this roof, we're going to take full dark prismarine blocks and build up 2 on top of these L shapes. Then build up 2 more on each of these central blocks, and 2 in each of the corners like that. Then build up 2 more in each of the corners of this plus shape that we're left with. And finally, build up 2 in a point at the top there. And now for the last bit of detail here before we go and do the last 2 chimneys, we're going to place 2 cobblestone walls at the top like that, with some iron bars sticking out of the top. Now the last 2 chimneys go in this section of roof just here, and we're going to start the same as these ones down here by marking them out with some stone bricks. So for the first one, find the segment of roof that lines up with the edge of this bit of roof just here, so that's here. Then count 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks back and place your stone. Then go 2 to the side and 2 back and turn that into your 3x3 square. Hello, Future Matt here with a quick note that I'm not sure what was wrong with me when I recorded this next clip, but apparently just saying 3 to the side and 1 back was out of the question. I'll show you the clip anyway for the visual reference, but just remember, all it is 3 to the side and 1 back. Carry on. Then for the second one, come to this back corner, leave a gap of 2 blocks. So there's a 2 block gap, here's a block, and then go 1 back. So there's a 2 block gap and it doesn't quite line up with it. Come 2 that way, 2 back, and turn it into our 3x3 square. And for this first chimney closer towards the front, we're going to start at the base by building up 1, 2, 3 more blocks of the stone bricks like that, and bring it around like this so we have a 2 block gap here, and do the same at the back. Then fill in this gap by placing stone stairs the right way up there and upside down above them, and again the same at the back, and then these sides can just be filled in with the stone bricks. We're then going to place smooth stone like that, the same as before, with stone stairs facing into them like that. Then on top of each of those smooth stone blocks, we're going to place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks of stone with 1 block of andesite and 2 more blocks of stone. Now the same as before, at the top here we have our stone stairs facing into those blocks like that, with stone there and our hay bale. And now the only difference at the top here is after we have surrounded our hay bale in the upside down stone stairs, we have a layer of regular andesite blocks around like that, before we then have the polished andesite at the top, and our campfire goes in the middle. This second chimney is then almost identical to this one, with a couple of exceptions. The first being that we're going to build up 2 more blocks around the bottom there. So we're going to start with this block that is a 3x3 square on all sides, and then from that we can build up our 3 blocks on either side like that, with our 2 block gap in the middle, and the 2 block gap is getting filled in with those stone stairs, and the gaps on either side here are getting filled in with our stone bricks. That next bit is then the same with those 4 blocks of smooth stone and the stone stairs on either side. And now, rather than just doing the 6 blocks of stone that we did on this one, we're doing 12 blocks of stone before we do our block of andesite and 2 more blocks of stone. The top is then exactly the same. We have the stairs, we have the hay bale with upside down stairs, and then we have our andesite, polished andesite, and the campfire to finish off. Now the last bit of detail we have to add before we can finish off with the terraforming around here is the aqueduct that comes out of this section. So to start this off, we're going to come down to the base of this pillar to where this polished andesite is here, and we're going to take some polished andesite and place 2 blocks like that just below there, and bring it around in a corner like that. We're then going to come 1 to the side and 2 this way, 1 to the side and 2, 1 to the side and 2, and so on. And we're going to continue that until we have a total of 18 of these 2 block segments going that way. So that is one edge of our first aqueduct done. And for the other edge, we're going to come right in here into where this grey wool is, and then making sure we're at the same level as this polished andesite. We're going to put 1 against it just there, then make a corner like that, then come 2 this way and 1 out, 2 this way and 1 out, and so on. And we're now going to repeat that until we have a total of 20 of these 2 block segments on this side. So when you've done that, you should get to the end here and you should have these 2 as your last 2 on this side, which should be exactly in line with where you finish off on this side. Now coming back into the base of the mansion here, you may need to break a little bit of terraforming depending on how you've done it for this bit. I'm going to have to break these 2 blocks just here, so that I can take some light grey concrete and place 1, 2, 3 with 1 block of light grey wool on it underneath there, so that it's just inside that corner like that. Then come into the next one on the diagonal. I'm going to place 1 more block of the light grey wool there, with 4 blocks of light grey concrete underneath it, and 2 blocks of stone bricks underneath it like that. And then going to follow the polished andesite along that way with light grey wool, placing 2 blocks like that, 2 blocks like that, 2 blocks like that, and so on until I reach the end. So once you've done that, underneath this side, it should look like this, with the polished andesite sticking out 1 block from where the light grey wool is. And above, there should be 1 block of light grey wool visible past the polished andesite like that, except at the very end here where there should be both blocks visible. Now switch back to your light grey concrete, and underneath these 2 blocks, build down 3 blocks and then 2 blocks. Build 1 block underneath each of those, then 2 blocks, and 3 blocks, then 4 blocks on those 2. And now that is going to be a repeating pattern going along. So 3 blocks, 2 blocks, 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks, 3 blocks, 2 blocks, and so on. When you finish doing that pattern all the way along, it should end with 2 blocks just like that. And what we're now going to do is we're going to go to each of these 4 points where it comes down the lowest. On these 2 end ones, place smooth stone just like that, and then on all of them, bring it down to the ground with stone bricks like this. Same with these 2, except these 2 don't have the smooth stone. So that is this side done. And now to move over to the other side, we're going to go back to our light grey wool, come into the back here. Underneath that block, put your light grey wool, and we're going this way, then do 2 like that, 2 like that, 2 like that, and so on down, so that we create the same pattern as this. When we get to the end here, we're going to stop with that, place 1 more block of light grey wool just there, then switch to your light grey concrete, put it underneath that block, bring it across 1, and out 1 like that. Then go back, putting it underneath all of these pieces of light grey wool. And finally, when you've done that, we're going to go down the middle, filling in the gap like this. That is our first aqueduct built, and now we can move on to the second. So to start this one, we're going to come down to this pillar here, which is the second to last one moving in here. We're going to put stone bricks on the corner of it like that and there. Build those up to 1 block below where this comes to, and then put smooth stone on top of each of them. Then move back to this column, and then from this block right here, leave a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 block gap. Put your stone bricks there and in a diagonal just like that. Build them up the same as these, so to 1 block lower than what that was, with smooth stone on top of them. Then take your light grey concrete and on top of each of those and each of those, build up that light grey concrete by 18 blocks. Once you have both of those, come to this one and build it back diagonally like this until you hit the wall like that, and come to this one and build this one back diagonally as well until it meets up with that one just there. You can also come around to this side of this front one and come out diagonally by 1, 2, and 3 blocks just like that. Now either side of each of these columns, we're going to come underneath here, build this one down by 2 and that one by 1, and do the same on that side, and we're going to do the same over here for this column as well. Then switch to your light grey wool, and starting from here, put a whole line of light grey wool in a diagonal going all the way along the top of that concrete until it hits the wall like so. Last of all for this side, grab some polished andesite, and starting from the wall back here, bring it in a zigzag like this so that it's on top of the light grey wool, and it also sticks out from the light grey wool like that, and we're going to do that all the way along to the end. The other side, it's easier to start from the top, so we're going to start with our polished andesite back here at the rock, and what you want to do is do the same sort of zigzag pattern as this, leaving enough space for a 1 block zigzag between them. So for me, it means starting on this bit of the terraforming right here. On your own world, depending on how you've done the terraforming, you might be able to start it back here, but in either case, you're zigzagging it like this. As you can see, there is a 1 block zigzag between them there. Any closer and that would close it off like that. And I'm going to continue this zigzag all the way to the end here. So at the end, you want to stop when it looks like this. You've got this one at the end here sticking out from your grey wool, and this one sticking out that way like that. We're now going to switch to our grey wool and come along underneath this, placing grey wool here just like that, all the way back until we reach the wall. We're then going to take light grey concrete and place it underneath the light grey wool there. And when we've done this, the last thing is to go back down the middle, filling in any little gaps like this. So that is both of our aqueducts finished now. Now I do realise it looks a little bit strange having the supports only on one side, but I am actually going to leave it like that, at least for now, because in the episode that Grian built these, which was episode 27, he actually ended up leaving them like this as well, and I can't remember if he ever went back and put the supports in the other side. So we're going to leave it just for now, and we can always correct it later. So we now want to take some water. I'm on creative, so I'm going to use water buckets for this. If you're doing this on survival, I would recommend using ice, not packed ice, just regular ice, because that's essentially a stackable form of water where water buckets are not. We're going to start with this top one. We're going to come back here to the rock. We're going to break one block back into the rock like that and make sure that it is covered up behind like that. We're then going to place water in that little hole we've created and gradually make our way back along the aqueduct, filling it in with water the whole way. Then when you get to the end of that, you'll see that it flows over the side like that and drops nicely down into this aqueduct below us. We're firstly going to fill this one back to here, and then once we've reached the wall, we'll go to this side and fill it in that way. Now as we finish this aqueduct here, just before I put in the last bits of water to make it fall over the edge here, it is going to be falling that way off of this edge. So I'm going to jump down here and make sure that it's actually got a hole to go into, so it's not just going to spread all over the ground everywhere. I'm just going to leave it at that hole for now. Obviously eventually we will make a little bit of a nicer terraformed looking hole for it. That is the actual building for this side of the mansion now done, which means the last thing we need to do before we can move over and copy it on this side is the terraforming around the bottom here. So for your terraforming, like what we did over here, you want to create first kind of like a wireframe of it using your randomized combination of andesite and stone. So I've created that wireframe coming all the way around here, which I will fill in a second. Now where I haven't created it is underneath this section at the very end, because this is a little bit different. This is not using the stone and andesite, so I'll show you this once I've filled in around here. Okay, so I have finished the terraforming around from this section all the way back over to where we had the rest of the terraforming. And the main thing that I have to say about this, other than what I've already said about the wireframe and the combination of stone and andesite, is that you want to make sure that it's always coming out from the base of the mansion and not undercutting it at all, because that will make it look like it is nice and well supported. Now moving across to this side, the first thing we are going to do is we already have one layer of andesite underneath here. So from here around to this corner over here, we're going to add 2 more layers underneath it so that that andesite is now 3 blocks high. Now the terraforming around this end bit is actually grass, so once you have built that andesite down like this, you want to take some grass blocks and outline where you want the edge of that hill to come. And however you do it, you want it to end up so the top of the hill at this corner is just 1 block below this polished andesite, so you actually can't see any of the regular andesite there. And as you can see, I've built that around so it comes around to this side as well. And once you have that outline, you can start building the rest of this hill coming out this way so it looks a little bit more fleshed out. So when you've done all of that, this is the sort of thing you are aiming for, a nice shallow grassy hill that comes up gently to meet the corner of the mansion there. Now depending on the terrain around your mansion, you may very well not have it sloping back down on this side. Obviously mine does, just because I'm on super flat, but in reality you may very well find that it continues on up or just across, like for instance GRIAN'S from here kind of continues into a bit of a forest. But anyway, that is now everything for this side of the mansion done, and all we need to do now to finish it is copy everything in mirror image on this side. I think we're done, you guys. Yeah, that is the outside of the mansion all complete. I think I'm going to take a break from this series now for maybe a week or so to let some of the survival peeps catch up and get some progress on my SMP series on the Voidcraft server. But we will be back, and in the next episode we can finally start working on the interior. Well everyone, that is everything I've got for you for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, leave me a comment letting me know what you thought, and subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any future videos from me. Until next time, I've been Matt, and I'll see you all in the next video.